Hey GrantMe viewers, welcome to GrantMe Reviews, where we talk all about scholarships, we talk all about admissions, and we give you the tips and tricks to help you reach your goals. Make sure you like, subscribe so we can make some more, and without further ado, enjoy the video! Hi Matthew, thank you for joining us.
Hey Jesse.
Why don't we start with the first question? Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, where you're from and where you're going to school.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Matthew. I'm from Surrey, British Columbia, and I'm going to Queen's Commerce, and I'm actually incoming second year there.
Awesome. Which high school did you go to?
I went to Panama Ridge.
Nice. So why did you choose to apply to Queen's in your grade 12 year?
Yeah, I decided to apply to Queen's because their commerce program is like none other. They offer countless number of different student-run clubs that piqued my interest in different fields. Also, it's such a tight-knit community with only about 500 students in each year in commerce. You get to really know your whole year. And class sizes are smaller, which means you get to know your professors and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Did you apply to any other schools?
Yeah, I applied to SFU, BD, and also UBC Sauder.
Nice. So how did the application process work for Queens? Can you walk us through like the steps and the kind of like requirements for a year?
Yeah, it's been over a year and a half, but I think essentially what the application process was like was you applied on OUAC with your personal information and you pay that deposit fee. Then Queen sent over kind of their own application link and you did a supplementary application and answered two questions with about, I roughly believe it was like 2,000 characters for each question. And the questions could range on like, how did you learn from XYZ or extracurricular, or what extracurricular will bring, what will you bring to Queen, something like that. So that's kind of like the application process there. Yeah.
Were the questions the same for everyone, or were they kind of random generated for different applicants?
Yeah, so Queens kind of does it in a different, unique way. So every month in their application process, they have two questions, or I think it was actually three you can choose from, but you have to choose two out of the three. And then every month, they generate three different questions. So altered every month, and it just depended on whether you like that question. You could kind of gamble and wait the next month. But that's kind of how it worked.
Okay, that sounds good. If you don't mind me asking, do you mind sharing some of your high school grades or extracurricular activities that you did outside of school that you wrote on your application that you think that helped you got
Yeah.
into Queens?
So I had straight A's going into university from high school. I think my average was about like 93, 94. All my different classes ranged from like French 12 and French immersion, also from like band, leadership, human geography, calculus, English, of course. Everything ranged from there. In terms of extracurriculars, I was all around the place in high school. In my school myself, I did like leadership, student council. I mentored our band program. I did volleyball. I coached. I ran a few different clubs, including like Hop to Initiative that focused on homeless awareness, stuff like that. Outside of high school, I worked with like the NHL doing a youth marketing internship. I also was part of 3 or 4 nonprofit executive teams, stuff like that, and did some sports as well.
Oh, it seems like you did a lot. Did you write like about one specific extracurricular activity that you think like was the most important or most impactful to help you get into Queens, or was it just kind of like a combination of everything?
Yeah, so I focused on one or two for each kind of answer, but I made sure to kind of fit in like 1 to 3 different other extracurriculars that I was part of, just to kind of highlight that, but I didn't really touch on it as much because you only have like 2,000 characters, so you really want to emphasize what you did. And I think obviously quality is always better than quantity, especially in those applications, to really show you the admissions committee like what you're about and what you're going to bring to Queens. So that's kind of the way I approached it.
Do you have any extracurricular tips for high school students? Like, would you recommend leadership positions, sports, or academic, or maybe like a mix of both?
Yeah, I think everything, it's a combination is great. Be a member of some things. You don't always have to take leadership, but also be a leader and be an initiator. Start your own organizations, start your own clubs, but don't neglect sports or like band or work. I think people neglect to work a lot. That it is an extracurricular, but it shows your responsibility, it shows your commitment. Like I worked all, high school as well. So I definitely wrote about that. And people, yeah, again, they tend to neglect it, but it's really an important thing to have. So don't stress if you don't have too many volunteer roles. you always have extracurriculars like work or sports or band to highlight.
Awesome. I know, just kind of going back to the thing you said earlier about the essays, you said it was 2,000 characters. 2,000 characters in words is honestly not too much. So it's quite a short paragraph. So did you have any essay tips to write those supplementary applications?
Yeah, I would say start off with a hook, a 1 to 2 sentence hook. Don't elaborate too much, and then just get straight into it. Get rid of those filler words. Get rid of those like, those thoughts. Like obviously, start with the longer draft. Always cut down. Like never just start and be like, okay, once I get to 2,000 characters, I'll stop. Really like take your time with it. But yeah, try to like not have filler words. Really punch them with the straight hook and make sure you engage your reader automatically, and then don't really drift off too much. Stick to one point. Stick to a few points that really are concise and specific, so it doesn't leave the admissions committee like questioning things. I'd also say just again, like focus on a topic. Don't be too broad, because if you're broad, you can't really focus and really can't highlight much. So those are kind of my main tips. Obviously, as a GrantMe student, I got to use like GrantMe's essay editing, so that helped a lot.
That's good to hear. So going to Queens, how was your first year? Since I can ask you, since you're going to your second year, how was your student life? How was dorming for first year? It's a big transition. How's that?
Yeah, for sure, it was such a great experience. I'm like so happy that I made that choice to move across the country and really kind of live by myself, and really just kind of really get to a new environment. Like living in a completely different province is really cool. It was definitely different than a standard first year, just because we were still in COVID, and we
Mhm.
were still like we had some hybrid classes, and also in January and February, all of our classes moved online for 2 months because of the Omicron outbreak. It's pretty bad at Queens. So that's a bit different. But other than that, first year was great. I got to meet kids and like classmates from all across the country, all across the world, and I have friends like everywhere now. Got to really meet everybody. I was like on the Queen Sports Industry Club or conference executive, so we actually had our conference in person. And that was like the first in-person event at Queens in over like a year and a half. So that's really cool. Dorming itself was an experience. Like you're gonna like learn a lot. Just kind of like your preferences, because you live at home prior and you kind of like get to do whatever you want. You live in your own kind of like a bubble. But even if you don't have a roommate, you'll have to deal with like people on your floor. And if you share a bathroom with people, right? You can
Mhm.
get like not the cleanest. So it was an experience, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I think like it's something that you should experience if you can. And like there's things that you really like about dorming. Like you're close to everything. You're close to your friends. You can just text and be like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" And you can like hang out within like 5 minutes. I think that's such a unique thing in university, that you get to be so close to your friends and really spend every day with them. And also like food wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I think it's definitely hit or miss. But dorm life is a really unique experience, and I would recommend it to everybody if you can.
What are your career goals at Queens? And is Queens giving you any opportunities, or do you think that like Queens was the right choice to reach your career goals or even personal goals? Yeah.
I think for career goals, definitely marketing is what I'm going into. I really love it because you kind of show you can make an impact with the work you put in, and really depending on the work that you commit to and how much work you put in, it really shows the kind of success and impact you make, which I think is such a kind of unique concept. But in terms of like specific fields, definitely like entertainment or sports. I think sports is something I really want to get into. Having that experience in grade 12 with NHL, and then also being on the Queen Sports Industry Conference executive, I've been able to really hone in and really have such a, I don't know, great experience with sports. And I've played it growing up, and it's such a revolving industry that's happening. So definitely sports there. Queens, I think, has done such a great job of supporting me and my goals. Um, Besides USIC, which is a sports club, I'm also in the Queens Marketing Association and then Smith Marketing Consulting. So at the QMAC, the QMA, I get to really run the largest undergraduate marketing conference in Canada with a great executive, and really help generations of leaders that want to go into marketing expand, experience, and grow their skills. Um, so really excited for that. And Smith Marketing Consulting, I get to do pro bono consulting with other students at Queens and Smith, and it's such an amazing experience, hands-on field that I get to work with large and small companies and really help them solve their marketing issues. And the thing I love about SMC is that we donate all of our funds to charities. So that's such a great kind of role because I'm really big into nonprofits. So it's another way that Queens is kind of helping my personal, but also my career goals. And also we have such a great like career team. That like I just had a career coaching appointment like 3 days ago, and they really help you with everything. So I think Queens is such a great opportunity and a great, just a great community that upper years and also just like faculty and coaches are always there to help.
Oh, sounds like you really enjoy yourself at Queens. Definitely, it sounds like you didn't regret your choice moving across the country. Back on admissions, if you were to apply to universities again, so put yourself in the shoes of a grade 12 student, now you know everything, you've gone through the process. What are some tips that you could give yourself, like to maybe how to keep your grades up, like study advice, or maybe just like time management in terms of applying to universities? Any tips on that part?
I think that one thing that comes to mind, especially for essays, is make sure that you're really showing Queens or whatever school you're going to, your personal kind of commitment to them. Like I mentioned what clubs I wanted to join, and I think that's what put me above, beyond and above, compared to other candidates because I highlighted exactly what I wanted to do and my passion for Queens. But I think also it's really important that you look back because I looked back at my essay like a few weeks ago and I was like, oh, why did I write that? I think just like make sure that you're really true to yourself. You don't need to mention like other factors. Always, I think I mentioned a lot of like different factors, like oh, these are challenges that I dealt with. I don't think that was like the right route, and I feel like my essay could have improved if I didn't. But also, I think other tips in terms of time management is get ahead, start 2 months in advance. It's never too early. As soon as you get questions, as soon as you get kind of a process of what it's going to be looking like, start ahead. Like I did my UBC and SFU app in the summer because I knew a lot of the questions that they would ask, and they're all similar, and you always have time to adjust. Like as a GrantMe student, we also have access to the winning essay results. I don't know, like you could catalog winning essays. So I was able to like see past questions and stuff like that. So that helped a lot, and even like reaching out to people at Sauter, and I reached out to people at BD and reached out to people at Smith and asked them, oh, how was this process like? Reach out to them. They were in your shoes a year ago, right? So they're always happy to help. So I think that's the thing with time management. And then in terms of keeping up your grades, Google Calendar, everything, make sure that you're not just like as soon as you get into university, be like, I don't need an A anymore. I think having straight A's is cool. I don't know. But just like throughout grade 12 or throughout your high school, it's nice to just keep that. You worked really hard for the first 4 years. Why give up now? I think that's my mentality. Like I know I'll be busy with grad and everything, but try to keep up those grades because that means more scholarship opportunities for you. Like Queens, if you have a 95% average or above, you get 4,000. But if you have a 90 to 94, you only get 1,500, which is still a great amount. But it kind of shows that difference. You're missing out on $2,500. So I think keeping up those grades is a really important thing.
Okay. Back on, you said that you reached out to people from these universities. How did you do it? Did you do it through like LinkedIn, emails, or social media?
So luckily for me, I was part of a lot of nonprofits, and that meant I had connections through there. So I had another student that goes to QCOM. She was going into, or she was in first year, and I was in grade 12, and I reached out to her, asking her if she could connect with me, anybody that's interested in marketing in their upper years, and that's kind of what sold me. I hopped on to coffee chat with a student graduating from Queens, and he really sold me on Queens. That was the first conversation I had. Queens was never on my radar, and I really learned, oh, is a place I can imagine myself succeeding and enjoying, and just really great for my mental health, personal life, just meeting so many different new people, getting outside of like my high school bubble. So I think that's what kind of sold me there. But in terms of like reaching out, definitely LinkedIn. Again, they were in your shoes a year or 2 years ago. They're ready to help you. I'm always open. Like I've been able to talk to students going into grade 12 or applying last year. And I think this is conversations of giving back and being able to really talk about kind of like what they're feeling and relating to them is something that I enjoyed. And also, I love selling Queens. Once you get into university, you're going to realize like your loyal commitment to your school. But I think, yeah, LinkedIn was a main thing. And also Facebook, feel free to connect. Once you realize like you're in university, you really talk to upper years through Facebook, not LinkedIn. But yeah.
Okay. Final question. I know we had so many positive things about Queens and the application process and many great tips. What are some challenges or some kind of problems you faced during the entire process or even in your school year right now?
Yeah, I think overlying process was just like definitely like a weird thing for me, just like moving across the country. I think
Okay.
a challenge there was like, oh, what did I bring? Just it's tiring. And that was like kind of a mini challenge there, but obviously it's not too hard. I think just like getting into like that university course load at Queens in first year and second year, you start with 11. 11 is a lot out of the bat, or like straight off the bat. While most of like my colleagues and peers and other faculties might do 8 or 9 or 10. I think like 11 was a lot. Going from 5 courses first semester to 6 second was crazy. It might not seem like a lot, but it is. I think talking just to your friends and knowing your resources, talking to your teacher assistants, your TAs, your professors, going to office hours, going to tutorials, talking to your friends, supporting each other is so important. That's how I was able to overcome it. But I think that's a big challenge there. And then also like make sure to prioritize your sleep. Like a lot of my friends would stay up till like 3 a.m. studying, but I made sure that I was always getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, or more. I think it's so important just to get up in your day and be feel energized. If you feel tired, you're really gonna be stuck in that cycle. And then you also have like social events and just like things you want to do with your friends, to go out and eat, right? And that takes time away too. And also focusing on your fitness, mental health is important as well. So just like make sure to time management, talk to your friends, talk to your family. You have a support network, and don't take that for granted.
Awesome. That's all the questions we had for today. Is there any final words you want to say to the viewers before we wrap it up?
I think just really stay true to yourself in your application process. Don't really stray away from, don't try to fit that cookie cutter candidate or that persona you think that they want. Reach out to connections, talk to students at your school. That's the best way you can know if it's the right fit for you. Talk to students that are already there. Talk to admission advisors, talk to academic advisors, talk to career advisors. I reached out to them prior to even like committing to Queens, and they're happy to help because at the end of the day, those faculties, they want to sell you. They want you to come to Queens. They're selling Queens, so they're gonna be happy to hop on a call with you. And I wasn't able to, but try to visit your campus. Queens is such a beautiful campus, and I'm so happy I chose it. But obviously, like I didn't like besides pictures, I wasn't able to be there. So if you can visit campuses, see what it's like. That's like a really great way. But yeah,
All right. Thank you for joining me, Matthew.
no worries. Thanks, Jesse.
And that's the end of the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and if you found this video useful or learned something new, make sure you share it with a friend as well. Thank you for watching GrantMe Reviews, and we hope to see you next time.